put the microphone on first. Welcome to November's Cabinet meeting here at Rugby. I'm Councillor Derek Paul, the Deputy Leader of Rugby Borough Council, standing in for Sebastian Lowe, our leader. Let us start with a reading I've got to read to you. There is no fire drill scheduled in the building this evening. If the fire alarm sounds, therefore, please could I ask that you make your way down the main staircase, out of the main doors of the Town Hall, and congregate at the entrance to Caldicott Park. An officer of the Council will then give you instructions when it is safe to re-enter the building. Thank you. Agenda item 1 is to confirm the minutes of the meeting held on the 11th of October at Rugby Borough Council. Can anybody propose that for me, please? Thank you. Seconder?
I'll second that.
Thank you. All in favour? Thank you. Agenda item 2 is to receive apologies. Executive Director, have we have some apologies, please?
Chair, we have apologies from Councillor Lowe and Councillor Roberts this evening.
Thank you. Agenda item 3 is declarations of interest. A, non-pecuniary interest as defined by the Councillors' Code of Conduct for Councillors. B, pecuniary interests as defined by the Councillors' Code of Conduct for Councillors. And C, notice under section 106 of the Local Government Finance Act 1992, non-payment of community charge or council tax. No, thank you. Moving on to agenda item 4, which is question time. Executive Director, have we a question, please?
Chair, we have one question from Rebecca Stevenson. The question and the answer have been published on our website and circulated to all members. The question's regarding the Council's carbon footprint and the baseline work and when that will be available. And as I say, the answer's been published and the data is being analysed currently and will form part of the climate change strategy forthcoming in early 2022.
Thank you, Executive Director. Moving on to agenda item 5. Leisure and Wellbeing Portfolio, which was Councillor Roberts. Councillor Mrs Simpson-Vince has kindly stood in to answer the question.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to remove this report as written.
Thank you. Have a seconder, please. Thank you. Councillor Roodhouse, any questions, please?
No particular questions. Just to say it's a move that needs to be done in order to get the Ben Hall up and running, hopefully back to the business it was doing pre-COVID and growing for the future as well. So, yeah, it seems a sensible approach in this instance. Is that okay?
No, nothing from Councillor Mrs O'Rourke. Thank you. Agenda item 6, under Finance, Performance and Legal Governance Portfolio, Councillor Ms Robbins.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Yes, well, there's very little change from the last quarter for the General Fund. We're still showing a balanced budget. However, the balanced position is being delivered from the COVID-19 recovery budget that was created to support the recovery from the pandemic. However, the pressures on the General Fund continue to cause concern, and Section 3.1 highlights the pressures, and the details can be found in Appendix 1. There are also pressures on the HRA account of 122,000, details of which can be found in Section 4.1 and at Appendix 2. This is mainly due to income shortfall, thanks to a far quicker than anticipated Rounds Gardens decant. And it is currently projected that the balance will be funded from HRA revenue balances, which will still leave a balance of just under £5 million at the 31st of March 2022.
Thank you. Councillor Roadhouse, any questions, please?
Just a couple of points. Thank you. From what I've read and see in the papers, I think it's looking like a very challenging budget round that's coming forward. Of course, we had the Chancellor give his his budget the other day, which didn't leave a lot about local government. Once you start adding the numbers up and looking at all the increases from national insurance and everything else that are going to impact through, we give with one hand and it's taken away with the other. The part around it, of course, we won't know until the local government settlement is out, which hopefully is pre-Christmas, to what the exact pressures will be within that. Are you taking performance issues around this as well?
Yes, I can do.
You can, 'cause
Let
it
me
does
get to that part in the agenda. Yep.
Because it does talk about some of the performance issues there, and certainly around the loss of income and staffing elements, and I think that's a cause for quite concern because of the capacity issues going forward as well. So I'm hoping that at some stage cross-party that we will be able to sit down and talk in some detail about these. And I know agenda item number 10 is talking about the telephone contact, and I know some members of my group have passed through to me that they've had terrible trouble trying to get in contact with the council, and it hasn't gone to the right places, and they don't quite believe the performance that's been reported there. But I know that's a conversation that is being taking place behind the scenes. So I'll probably welcome agenda item 10 from what I've read and what I've heard now, and got a better understanding of that we perhaps do need a new telephone system.
Thank you. Councillor Mrs O'Rourke.
Thank you, Chairman. Really, my concerns are very similar to Councillor Roodhouse. I think in all the years I've been here, and I've served as a councillor on and off now for well over 30 years, I've never seen the word pressures so many times within a report. And I echo the concerns about how we will have the ability going forward to actually provide all the services that this town needs because of those pressures. So we are really concerned, and I think it's fair to say that it's noticeable within the community as well. I mean, there's a lot of social media activity now, not run by politicians, but by papers from local people that are concerned, and they're worried. I mean, we know that they're worried about all sorts of services and our services as well. We know they're worried about the health service. We know they're worried about getting into see GPs, blah, blah, blah. But they're also very worried about the fact that we won't, as a council, have the ability to deliver everything that this town needs, particularly with it growing so quickly. So I think, it's a very detailed report. I thank the officer for that report, but I think it's very challenging for you that, there's such a lack of clarity, and in a time when there's so much uncertainty, we in local government need certainty. And the role that we played, I said it before, as the sort of the third emergency service in terms of supporting businesses locally through COVID and all these sort of bits we did with our health partners, it just feels a bit of a cruel blow that we're now being punished for everything that we've done, but hey-ho. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor O'Rourke. Must I say that Rugby's in a better position than some local councils, and with the officers that we've got and our portfolio holders, we'll keep going, hopefully for the better. Thank you. The item's been moved, but...
Yeah, can I just come back on a few points, please, Chair? I echo the sentiments, to be honest, of both Councillor Roodhouse and Councillor O'Rourke, and I fully understand your concerns because they are mine as well. Obviously, we are keeping a very close eye on it, and we are looking at every possible solution that we can. I have recently had a meeting with Mark Pawsey, with the head of service and the leader of the council, and hope if we get anything from that, well, we can but hope. Basically expressing those concerns that you have just expressed and asking for better clarity and to try and help us to see our way through. We will see our way through. We always have done. This is a council which has never been in serious trouble, and I would like to think that we can see our way through this crisis as well. But it is a challenge. We're all up for the challenge. We will be having meetings, cross-party meetings as well, and we will be reviewing everything that we do, and we will be reviewing our financial position on a regular basis.
Once more, it's the pressure. Thank you. It's been moved by Ms Robbins. Can I have a seconder, please? Thank you. All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you. Again, with you, Councillor Ms Robbins, agenda item 7, start times of meetings of the council.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I just moved the report as printed. I think it's in everybody's interests that we move to this way of working with 6 o'clock starts.
Thank you. Councillor Roodhouse? No, man. Thank you. I'll second it from the chair. All those in favour? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I'll just wait for a second. So a gremlin has taken over. Right. Okay, thank you, Chair. So this report is proposing to work in partnership with Warwickshire County Council and the other Warwickshire councils to support the implementation of and the delivery of the Warwickshire Safe Accommodation Strategy. And the strategy is setting out how new duties to provide safe accommodation and support for victims of domestic violence will be delivered. And it's following the Domestic Abuse Act of this year. So I welcome this report and hope that it will help residents of Rugby who are suffering the devastating impacts of domestic violence by providing increased support and safe accommodation. So I move the report as written.
Councillor Roodhouse?
Thank you. Yeah, I welcome the report and the strategy that's been sent through. I think it's quite clear from the strategy and from what I know that this will only scratch the surface of this particular subject in Warwickshire and in Rugby. There is not enough safe, secure accommodation for people who are suffering from domestic abuse and to be taken, and with the perpetrators. And that is acknowledged by the people that have written by this report to me as well, that this will only be a drop in the ocean of that particular journey. And it is a journey, and I think it's been a long time coming that we do need a group like this working on this particular subject. And I think it also needs to be recognised, and it is recognised in here, that the work with perpetrators will take place within that, and we need to make sure that that's fully joined up. But I go back to the fundamental point within this across Warwickshire. Even with this allocation, it does not go near enough to actually ensuring there is safe, secure accommodation for people that suffer from this and can go to a place of safety. We will still be putting people into either hotels or emergency accommodation across Warwickshire, and I still find that totally unacceptable. Thank you.
Comments noted. Thank you. Councillor Mrs O'Rourke.
Yes, I sort of agree with everything that Jerry said. It is a concern. I think we all recognise that it is a growing challenge, and it's very worrying that we, are putting very vulnerable people with so many stresses and pressures upon them already, having to put them in sort of temporary accommodation when they've already got so much stress and pressure is, a real concern. And I do think it's something that we need to do a lot more work with our partners as well, not just Rugby Borough. I think we need to be working a lot more closely with the multi-agency services to actually sort of address some of the other issues that could be dealt with, I believe, in a much more joined up way. But there's not enough money there, and it is a challenge and a concern. Thank you.
Thank you. It's been moved by Councillor Mrs Crane. Could I have a seconder, please? Thank you, Miss Robbins. All those in favour, please. Thank you. Unanimous. Thank you. Moving on to agenda item 9, community grants allocations. Again, Mrs. Crane.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, this report is allocating the funds for the 2021 to 22 community grants, and as recommended by the Grants Working Party, it's also proposing for the under allocation to be returned to balances this year. I think that seems to be the sensible thing to do, and it was agreed by the Working Party in view of the financial situation the council is in at the moment. We thought that was the best use of those funds. So I move the report as written.
Thank you. Councillor Roadhouse? No. Okay, thank you. Mr. O'Rourke? No? Okay. It's been moved by the portfolio holder. I'll second it from the chair. All those in favour? Thank you. Unanimous. Agenda item 10, again with Councillor Mrs. Crane, improving the resilience of our telephone.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. This report is in relation to an upgrade to the council's telephone system for the contact centre, which I hope will be a welcome change, and it will, just keep us up to speed with current digital innovation and ensure that customers get the service that they need and just get those updates to the phone system, because our current system is, in need of an upgrade. And the additional thing is it won't require any additional funding to implement because it's coming from savings and the funds that already go to the current system. So I think it's a very welcome addition. And I move the report. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Roadhouse.
Thank you. Just a couple of quick points. I think quite clearly COVID has highlighted the issue of 533 not working as effectively as it could do, or people being allowed to get through because of the transferring mechanisms that have been involved. So hopefully this will be a welcome upgrade that would start to help modern ways of working and more agile working as we go forward and bolting in. So I look forward to the performance indicators going through the roof and everything being 120% and not 100% as was indicated in the earlier report. And I recognise the difficulties, but I think if we're hard to have a more agile working force, we've got to start moving with the telephone systems and the IT systems that we can. So I look forward to the improvements to the Wi-Fi systems as well and much easier logins. Sorry, that was not to do with this item, but there you go.
Councillor Mrs. O'Rourke. Okay, thank you. Your sentiments I acknowledge, Jerry. Long time coming. It's an improvement we need, and hopefully we can get it done as soon as possible. Been moved by Mrs. Crane. I'll second it from the chair. All those in favour? Thank you. Agenda item 11 has been deferred and will come to the next cabinet meeting. So we move swiftly on to agenda item 12, which is change and transformation portfolio, which was the leader's portfolio, and it's climate change and environmental impact assessment. I've got the report here. I've read through it. It's short and to the point, and I'm going to move it from the chair as printed. If you've got a comment, no problem.
I'm just going to second it, Chair.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favour? Thank you. There's nothing to report on operations, and the next two items, 13 and 14, are items which contains reports which considered are on block, subject to any portfolio holder requesting a discussion of an individual report. Okay, so 13 and 14, I move we accept those. Seconder, please. Councillor Mrs. Robbins, all those in favour? Thank you. Agenda item 15 is a motion to exclude the public under section 100A 4 of the Local Government Act 1972 to consider the following resolution. Under section 100A 4 of the Local Government Act 1972, the public be excluded from the meeting for the following items on the grounds that it involves likely disclosure of information defined in paragraphs 1, 2 and 3 of Schedule 12A of the Act. I'll move that from the Chair. Mrs Simpson Vince, will you second it, please? Thank you. All those in favour? Thank you. Would you turn off live streaming, please?